Welcome to the Knightline Podcast, your source for UCF football and former UCF player information. Hello, Night Nation. This is Andrew Fegley coming to you from the 1148 studios. And to my left over here is the guy that's always to my left.
Because there's no room on the right. It is Troy Andrzak.
How you guys doing today? We have a lot of news. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about.
It's been a busy 2 weeks.
It has been a very busy 2 weeks. We've got the George O'Leary retirement story. We've got a quarterback now, which is
about time.
Absolutely awesome. We've actually got a quarterback. Well, we have multiple quarterbacks, but we actually have a starting quarterback now. We're going to talk a little bit about the offensive line. We're going to talk NFL, CFL stuff. We're going to talk, of course, about Penn State. And we have actually a new feature this time, which will be part of the show from now on.
It's not really a new feature. We've just named it.
It is, but we've named it this time. So it is Kurt's Questions, because Kurt always gives us a awesome question every show so far.
He monopolizes the questions, people.
He does monopolize them, but they're very good questions, and he helps us out tremendously by doing that.
If he wasn't so handsome, it'd be kind of creepy.
It would.
It's still creepy.
He is a handsome guy.
And then our picks for the season.
So I'm told.
So you're told.
Well, I don't go around saying, oh, well, that guy, he's handsome. But people have told me that Kurt is handsome. So, whatever. I believe him. Yeah, and we're gonna give our picks to see, what at the end of the year here, we'll tally it up, and whoever
he owes me beer.
Well,
let's put this out there right now.
I don't think it's gonna work like that, but that's fine.
You're gonna open your wallet, take out the funds, purchase said beer, give to me my belly. Okay. That's how it's going to go.
Well, we'll see. All right, so quarterback.
Perfect place to start off at.
Yeah, I think so. George O'Leary this week told us that Pete DeNovo was our starting quarterback. Troy, what do you think about that?
I can see why. I thought it was going to be Justin Holman because he got reps last season. Had a little more time in the offense, a little more game speed. But DeNovo was a homeschooled kid, so he knows how. When I learn English, I'm going to say he knows how to learn on his own. Able to study, really worked hard. J.J. Wharton touched on it in a little Q&A with UCFsports.com, how he saw this coming. He added arm strength, which was the big problem with DeNovo. Is he had arm strength for high school, set all those records, but could it translate into a faster game? He has accuracy. He's a better game manager. For years, George O'Leary has been just wanting game managers. Before Bortles came around, he was hoping that Moffitt was going to be a game manager, Calabrese and Israel. He just wanted guys not to lose the game for the most part and then just hand the ball off. DeNovo, he's a little bit of an athletic guy. Now, Holman can make those plays outside the pocket, but apparently DeNovo's been able to do that as well because our offensive line, which we're going to touch on later, is a little sketchy. They still haven't gelled yet. And if it's going to break down, you want a quarterback who's going to make a positive play out of a broken play, not give up a sack or force a ball into a bad situation. And DeNovo's been making good reads, good pre-snap reads. He's not clearly the number one. We still have a bit of time. There's still competition there. Holman and Patty are 2A and 2B, according to O'Leary, with Tyler Harris still trying to get up with game speed. Apparently he's holding the ball a little bit too long, a little too long of a windup for his release. But he's coming in at number 3 under O'Leary's 4-man quarterback count there. And as long as DeNovo's able to hold the game, not turn the ball over, make something out of nothing. He's much bigger than Patty is. People have been talking about how Nick Patty's been picking up the game. But he doesn't see well over the offensive line. Andrew can attest to that. He was out at practice the other day.
They say 5'11", but I really see that as a big push. I don't see him actually being 5'11".
Maybe
I'm sorry.
His helmet is 5'11"?
I don't know. Maybe his sister's 5'11" or something. I don't know.
But
no knocking his. I mean, I don't know his sister.
We don't want to knock smaller quarterbacks. Doug Flutie definitely had a lot of success. Drew Brees is my height. They're not huge guys.
I saw him have some throws, though, that literally he had trouble seeing over the offensive line.
And it's an issue, which is why we want the prototypical size. You have to be able to get the ball over the defensive lineman any time to get,
and he was definitely running third string the other day in practice, from what I saw.
So you had Holman, the 2A was true 2, when DeNovo was true 1?
Yes.
That's good. Continuity and leadership. These guys need someone who can command the huddle, and if they are able to look to DeNovo as number 1, he's able to set the offense. He sets the tone, sets the pace, everything. When the receivers are making a poorly run route, he's able to talk to them, and vice versa. They're able to give him feedback. He's able to literally command this offense. And if it starts now, because this is what we really wanted earlier in the season. We wanted this coming out of spring ball, so though no one really showed us anything, especially DeNovo. So now that we're starting to get it a couple weeks before the Penn State game, is going to be significantly beneficial to the progression of this offense. Now, if we could just get the progression of the offensive line, we're in a really good position.
Yeah, I saw an interview the other day, or heard an interview that Torian Wilson was talking about how Pete DeNovo really commanded inside the huddle. Like if someone was talking, he'd tell him to stop talking. Let's get with business. Let's relax and do our thing. And I think that's big when people respect you, and I think that's extremely important for the rest of the team to respect.
He's a leader. The quarterback position is a natural leadership position. He's also able to take snaps under center better.
And if your offensive line as the quarterback does not respect you and believe in you, you're going to be on your butt a lot.
What was that movie, Any Given Sunday?
Yeah.
Where Jamie Foxx got leveled. It was
that happens more than you think.
Oh, no, I believe it happens. Oh, by the way, if I sound more like Barry White today, the producers gave me a new mic. So it's not a progression, use that word again, of puberty. Not sick.
He has his own mic because his breath was, freaking horrid. I could not be as close to him as I was before. So
I'm glad you don't double as a comedian.
I do, actually, but anyway.
That's why
That's my night gig. All right, so I got a clip here that I want to play y'all. This is the actual announcement from George O'Leary.
In case you don't believe us, and if you haven't already read it in the papers.
Right. I just thought you'd want to hear it. There is a lot of background noise here. It was out at the practice field, so bear with us.
DeNovo I'm naming him number 1 quarterback going into the first game with Holman and Patty 2A and B and Harris 3. Okay, so I'm still undecided with 2, but 1 from a management standpoint, from the sideline to the field, to consistency is what I was looking for. I thought Pete elevated himself this last week.
Holy Manhattan construction zone, Batman. That was the practice fields.
I saw the video. Yes, it was the
all right.
Yeah, it was the construction site practice field.
Always building UCF is. And, that's a perfect segue. We're going to talk about this bullocks about George O'Leary retiring. And, maybe it has gained some footing. Maybe he is retiring. Maybe he is going into construction. And we caught him moonlighting already.
The construction foreman, George O'Leary. Can you imagine? Him as a football coach, number 1. But can you imagine him on a construction site yelling at guys?
Yes, I-4 would probably be done already.
It would. There'd be a lot of construction that was done. All right. I actually have a clip on that, too, and it sounds a little bit better.
So I don't know where that. I've never spoken to this fella. I don't know what's going on there. And, that's what's about. If you know my history, I'm not one to start something and not finish. I don't know where that came from. I really don't. And I don't know who the sources are, and I don't really care. And the only source I worry about is my source, me, as far as making a decision. And I have every intention of coaching 13 games this year and doing what I need to do to get this team to win.
Did you catch that there? He said 13 games. So he's predicting that we're going to go to a bowl game this year. I love it. Because in the past we've had good seasons and we've had bad seasons. And we've had good seasons and we've had bad seasons. So I hope that this year is going to be one of those good ones after a good one.
I believe, 22-5 in the past 2 years, we've definitely have a foundation for continued success and be able to pull in double-digit wins. is wholly dependent on the offensive line. I know we've touched on them before, and before we head that way, because they are our biggest concern, that fellow he was referencing in that clip was Bruce Feldman, an online scribe who said he had sources, like so many writers do that he can't name, that George O'Leary was going to retire after the Penn State game.
I guess this guy, was it Feldman?
Yes.
Was on campus in 2011, so he must have gotten that way back in 2011.
I was on campus in 2011 as well, and I didn't hear that.
Supposedly he came and did a little Florida run through of the teams, but anyway, the dude is obviously a buffoon. So thank you very much for stirring some stuff up.
It got people talking about the program.
It did,
and nationally about possibly.
Some people say any media or any press is good press,
and I am in disagreement to that.
I know you are.
A lot of modern reporters, sports reporters per se, just lack integrity. It's all about inflammatory responses and, having sources and then getting people's reaction and apologize later. It's the Skip Bayless, Mike Bianchi way of doing stuff, and it's crap. I hate that. It's childish. You're not a 4-year-old. Act like a man. If you have news, spread news. Talk about something, be knowledgeable, but don't be inflammatory. I know there's places for people like Skip Bayless on TV. They get people talking, and no one really takes him seriously. He hasn't been legitimate since SMU had the death penalty when he was a reporter down in Texas. It's why people don't read the Sentinel much. It's why, some people don't take UCF seriously, because that's who we're covered by. So that's what's annoying to me is people like Bruce Feldman and Bianchi and Bayless. And moving on, I'm off on a tangent.
Yeah, so John Hitt, the president of UCF, said Coach O'Leary would never quit after one game in a season. Whoever wrote that doesn't know George O'Leary. And then Todd Stansbury, who is the athletic director, basically reiterated the same point, and then said that this. He didn't say this guy's crazy, but basically that's what we're saying.
Because it'd be inflammatory to say he's crazy,
right? And
then he'd have to name his sources after the fact.
Yes, Todd Stansbury did not say that. That's me that said that. I think this guy's a freaking crazy buffoon.
Moving on, George O'Leary is here to stay for the time being. He is getting up there in age. He just had a birthday.
He did. And so that brings up a good point, and that's what really has come out of this, is that who's in line for the coach's job after O'Leary does. He said he'd like to be around another 4 years or something like that.
Something 2017 where his contract's out.
Right.
But now that UCF is a bigger program, continuity of coaching, that has to do a lot with recruiting. Guys can use it against us. Well, George O'Leary might not be here for this long or that long, and so are you sure that this is the system for you? Maybe you should come to our school, because you just don't know what's going on there. There's no stability coaching-wise.
Yeah, I guess George O'Leary's agent, Jack Reel, is seriously fired up about this. And he's demanding that Bruce Feldman reveal his sources, and, I think you should as well.
Of course he's fired up. Saying that he's going to retire, that negatively impacts his earning potential, for licensing and endorsement deals. However, George O'Leary's staying, and we're moving on. Just like we're moving on with George O'Leary, going to the one thing that is vexing us, the offensive line play.
It is. I was out there at practice on Saturday, and the one thing that I'm going to tell you that I saw from that practice is I'm really kind of scared with the offensive line. Now, it could be many things. It could be that our defensive line and our defense is so good that they make our offensive line look bad.
That is possible.
I hope that that's what it is. I hope that they're getting, to play against an incredible defense like we have, and then that's going to make them stronger to play against weaker defenses.
Well, playing against our defense in practice every day only helps them out. You're getting reps against high-level defense. Competition builds success. But what was it about the offensive line that you saw that you disliked so much?
It just seemed like there were not holes being opened up for the running backs. It seemed like that they were just struggling. They rotated a lot of people, which rotation is fine, and it's needed to keep people fresh and everything else like that. And it's practice. But with the quality of the offense that we have and the quality of the running backs, I just wish that there would be a little bit more of a hole there for him. That's what Stanbeck needs, is the holes to be opened up so he can see his way to the end zone.
Which is understandable. We have so much talent at our skill positions. We don't want it wasted, squandered, whatever you want to call it. Stanbeck can run over defensive back all day. It's not that easy to run over a linebacker or truck a defensive lineman. I know you're President pessimistic, but I think we're going to get an offensive line. We do have some experience there, Torian and Joey Grant. I think really when Joey Grant comes in, he's going to be the glue that holds the whole thing together.
I will say that I did not see him the other day. I could have made a mistake, but I don't believe that I saw him. But I saw a couple other people at center.
You had Tariq Cook under center?
I did see that, yes. So lining up from the left, what I saw was Wilson, Evans, Cook, Watson, and Campbell.
And that was first team?
That was what was running with the first team. And I'm fine with that if that's what we have. I'm hoping Joey Grant gets in there and, you know, that's really, I mean, I don't want to divulge too much there, but I believe that's
I don't think we're going to give away the game plan to any team. The game plan, every team comes in, smash mouth football, possession, no yak, no big plays. That's UCF football.
Right.
Now, I have heard from some other guys talking to him that, and of course I haven't made it out because I have the 9-to-5 job and I don't have the freedom to go where I want sometimes. But they were talking that they saw a few good days for the offensive line out there, that they were able to, make some headway, really start to get that punch to push the defensive line back. And we have a defensive line that we really want to see get after the quarterback. So I'm hoping that some of this negative play that you've seen is a side effect of some hard work by our defensive line, being able to put some more pressure. Are they collapsing the pocket? Are they just pushing the line back? So
it's collapsing the pocket, I think, more than anything else. But like you said, it is practice. I really was only able to make it the one time. But,
you're not the only one with concerns.
By far. So we'll see. I hope that it's just that they're playing against an awesome defense right now, but there's going to be other awesome defenses that they play against. I'm not so horribly concerned with Penn State's defense, but I'm concerned with Missouri's defense. So we'll see what happens to that line when we play Missouri.
We've touched on it a few times. We have good coaching, and we have NFL talent on our defensive side of the ball. So, with that, what about our current players in the NFL and CFL? How are they doing?
Well, I guess Blake, I saw the game the other night, and he played the entire second half pretty much. I think he came in with like 3 minutes left to go in the first quarter, or no, in the first half. I'm sorry. So right before the 2-minute warning of the first half, and he played great. He still has not scored a touchdown, hadn't thrown a touchdown.
He's led him on some scoring drives. He's got him on some good third down conversions.
Right, no touchdowns, field goals after those. But I have a quote from him as well here, a little clip.
Yeah, I think they've been two decent outings. There's good things to learn from and there's bad things to learn from, and that's what I'll continue to do. Continue to kind of take it in stepping stones, and next week try and raise the bar and be better.
Yeah, he has kind of a generic response to a lot of things, which is fine, and I understand that he's, I'm sure, been told to and coached to have a response like that. I mean, the interview went on, but that was the clip that I liked the most out of it.
Do you know who Blake sounds like in that clip?
Who?
Peter Dante. You have any clue who that is?
I don't.
That is Adam Sandler's homeboy who's in all those movies, and he was in the quarterback in Waterboy.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But about Blake's play, it's always nice to see Ron Jaworski break it down. He made some nice throws, some nice reads, good accurate, tosses. I only saw one drop ball out there. I'm not too worried about them not having many scoring drives at the moment. In the one place where our first-round quarterback wasn't supposed to have a QB controversy, his play has sparked one.
Absolutely. And I guess this week he's actually getting first-team play as well.
Well, it's the third game.
Yeah. So
now, Chad Henne played pretty well in that game.
He did, but Blake's stats were a bit better than Henne's.
Well, we've and when I say we, I mean not me at all because I was a Miami fan. apparently Chad has moments where he looks like a professional quarterback from time to time.
He does. I mean, he looked good. I
didn't see it in Miami.
Of course, I want Blake to play, but Henny did look all right. So, also, Latavius Murray played this last week.
He caught a couple catches out of the backfield and a couple runs for 13 yards.
And I have a little quote on him, and this is from Coach Allen from the Raiders.
What does Latavius bring to you guys maybe different than Darren and me?
Well, I think, Latavius is a big, powerful back that really also has exceptional speed, and when he gets out into the open, he's got an opportunity to take the ball the distance. And I thought he ran the ball hard in the game the other night. I thought he did a pretty good job for the most part of making the right reads and putting the ball where it needs to go in the run game.
Where the hell are you getting these clips? The last one was a construction
I cannot
zone.
reveal my sources.
Understood.
Actually, I probably should reveal my sources. That was straight from RaiderWhatever.com. I hate the Raiders.
Look, that sounded like it came from the NASA control room, and Sputnik went off in the middle of the interview.
Yeah, I think it was like by Skype or something, so somebody's Windows thing beeped.
Whatever it was. Anyways, Latavius, it'd be nice if he got a few more reps. I have a lot of faith in him. And he's
third behind, two pretty
established backs.
Awesome running backs.
I don't know if they're still awesome. However, back to running back, going to reel this in for a sec. Storm Johnson didn't get a lot of touches. I saw...
I haven't been able to find any audio of Storm, by the way. But he was the 222nd pick, so maybe that's...
Understood. Who was it? Denard Robinson, the former quarterback from Michigan, was looking pretty good. And he's behind Gerhardt, so...
Yeah, I didn't realize who he was at first. I didn't realize that that's who he was. Because I remember him playing at Michigan, and I didn't know that they switched him to running back instead of...
No, they needed to. He wasn't a very good quarterback.
Yeah. No.
But he's a good athlete, an offensive weapon, as Dexter McCluster, when I learn English, would say. So I'm a little worried about if...
I'm a Chiefs fan, and we traded or lost McCluster this year to the Tennessee Titans.
How does that make you feel?
I'm very upset about that.
I mean, Tennessee has no state income tax. I'd go there, too.
Big McCluster fan. That dude, once he could do what he does, he lit a lot of fires, and it was exciting to watch him play. And it still is. I've seen some stuff. I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I see, clips and stuff on there. So, good for him.
Oh, well, it's the life of being a Chiefs fan.
Yep. Well, it's better than being a Dolphins fan, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's been rough.
Or a Tampa fan, or a Jacksonville fan.
But Jacksonville, there's hope.
It is. There is a lot of hope. There's quite a bit because, their owner, I guess now has been voted one of the most likable owners. They had a great draft this year,
and that's why there's hope. I thought there was hope because of the quality of talent they brought in. I thought there was hope because they brought in Blake Bortles and guys from UCF.
Yes,
which is, you're welcome, Jacksonville, you stinky city. Okay. Because you are now UCF North, and there's a chance.
There is a chance. They've got 3 of our guys now.
Ryan Tannehill is Yiddish for not a chance to win.
So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens there in Jacksonville. Hopefully all the Florida teams... I was not trying to upset any Dolphins fans or Tampa fans. I'm just saying that go Chiefs.
All right, speaking of Chiefs, Penn State now. There was no segue there. You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't know where you... That's fine. Whatever. We'll just go with it. Moving on. So let's take the question real quick. Kurt has sent us a question again. This is a new part of our podcast. Every week we will have Kurt's question.
It's not a new part of our podcast. Kurt sends in questions.
Now it is officially a segment. I'm going to make up some music and everything. It's Kurt's question.
that was awesome.
It was. Like...
I imagine Kurt will stop sending in questions if he hears that music.
I don't think he will. That'll be funny. All right. So who do you...
Other people you can send in questions to. Please don't let Kurt monopolize everything.
We had a good run there, and now nothing except for Kurt. But Hey, Kurt's cool. I like Kurt. We talked about Kurt earlier. We're talking about Kurt again. All right. So his question. Wait a second, though. Weren't we switching your name to Gustav? Weren't you supposed to be Gustav?
You know the timeline ran out. You know the statute of limitations.
Oh, okay. So no Gustav Andrzak anymore.
And listen to you get Andrzak right.
I know. Hey, I worked on it. I spent all my preparation time for this podcast working on your name, and you didn't even let me say it at the beginning.
Holy cow, it shows.
Yeah, well, got to do something. All right, so Kurt's question actually is, who do you predict to be the next big impact recruit from the 2015 class and also from the 14 class?
You want to touch on the 14 class first?
Sure.
Kyle Gibson. He's already getting reps. All the other players are already talking about him. We're going to lose a few seniors in the secondary after this season. Kyle Gibson's already in the mix, so I think he's going to be the first to give us, quality impact. We can also talk about Tyler Harris. He was in the conversation for starting quarterback. Just a few technical issues to work on, a few mechanics to change, but has the big arm and can see over the offensive line.
I'm going to say Jordan Atkins. I know that he's not part of these classes, but technically he is a newcomer to the team this year. I think he is going to make a huge impact for the next couple of years.
Well, he's mature, he's big, he's physical. Are we going to use him as a tight end? Are we going to use him as an H-back? Is he going to come as a wide receiver? George O'Leary's touched on him. I like how you have the political take on this, how you completely avoided answering the question, yet you answered it in your own way.
Hey, that's true.
I think Jordan Atkins is definitely going to be a big impact player for us. Touching back on the 2014 class, Errol Clark, who was just multiple times we recruited him. He came in from a community college. He's already getting reps first and second team for linebackers. Jordan Franks came in as a wide receiver, has gotten rave reviews as a linebacker in camp. And he's using his athleticism to be able to go sideline to sideline. So we've already had some young guys. Pittman on the defensive line for defensive tackles already getting some reps. We have a lot of these young guys coming in. We have a lot of depth returning, but yet these guys are so talented they're able to already make an impact and insert themselves into some first team defense.
Yeah, Clark is a community college guy, so he's technically only got 2 years, I believe, here.
I thought he was only gone for a year, but however, I could be wrong as well.
Yeah.
And moving to 2015, is there anyone from that class? Though we've signed no one yet, is there anyone from there you like?
I guess the thing that I saw the most impressive on film was Titus Davis. I think that he could be huge.
He overpowers guys on the high school level.
Yeah. He's a big boy. I think he'll get bigger. And you make why do you always make...
It's your delivery. Anyways, Titus Davis has impressed. Bo Schneider, you've talked about him quite a bit. I like him as a quarterback prospect, pushing Tyler Harris down the road.
Yeah, I don't know what to think. Now, we're going to have quite a few quarterbacks for years to come here, I think.
And the one thing about that, you always say competition, breeds better players than it does. However, for quarterbacks, a lot of guys transfer. It's the position that you get the most transfers because it's there's only one spot on the field. Everyone wants to be the quarterback of their own team, the leader. So you get guys who, if things just don't work, they transfer out.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Tyler Harris, to be honest with you. And then, Bo Schneider as well, because they've both got all the tools. They're just, quite young. I'm sure that Tyler Harris is going to be, I'm 99% sure, I'm assuming that he'll be redshirted this year, so he'll have... some...
George doesn't redshirt a lot of guys, but with how much
four
depth...
quarterbacks.
Exactly, with how much depth we have, we could redshirt him. Also, Neil Nelson, the linebacker, I really like that guy. He was like a lion on a zebra. He brought everyone down who he got his hands on. And Cameron Stewart is quite the athlete wide receiver. We're losing a lot of wide receivers, so we need to replenish that depth. And, if he stays with us, because he's 85% sure, you really could feel a need for next season.
All right, I think that we should talk here a little bit about the Penn State game because that is...
What's next?
What's next in 12 days. 12 days, can you believe it? I am so excited to get this going.
Are you going?
I'm not. I wish that I could.
Talk about I'm so excited to get this going.
Yeah, but I can't.
I'm not going.
I can't go to Ireland.
I completely understand.
On what I make? Come on. We both work at the same place, by the way.
In completely different roles, thank goodness.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not good. Anyway, so what do you think? Should we make a pick here real quick?
I will make a pick.
So we're going to do this pick thing, and whoever has I think we talked about this earlier, whoever has the most is going to buy the other one beers and blah, blah, blah. Please keep track for us, because I'm sure that one of us will try to say that we didn't say whatever. So, more Troy than me.
I'm not sure that even made sense. All right, moving into the pick.
I say...
All right, let's hear it.
I say it's going to be UCF by 7.
UCF by 7? That's solid. You know, it all depends on our offensive line. You know, I got this. It's a little UCF or big UCF? Because I really think... No, I can't do the Bears that well. Every day, Penn State is losing depth. They just lost their leading tight end, Adam Brenneman. Who is Christian Hackenberg going to throw the ball to? Who's going to keep him upright? Zach Zwiniak, if you can't run the ball, because that kid ran us over at times, and you know he gave me some chest pain late in the game. But other than that, you know, they have all these guys coming back on defense. Was it 8 defensive starters, and their leading sack guy had 5 sacks and, you know, senior leadership. That's great. You underproduced. I'm glad you're excited they're coming back. I have UCF. Let's see here. I didn't have a score until he said +7. I say we win 2 touchdowns. I know we're now a 1-point favorite since Brenneman got injured, and we were a 1-point dog before that. Absolutely not. Listen, I know it's going to be cold in Ireland. Colder than Florida. Everything's colder than Florida, just about. But other than that, with the weather not permitting, this is going to be our game to lose.
I hope so.
Of course you hope so. I said we're going to smack them.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
We have more experience on defense. We have a better defense. We have a lot more skill position weapons. They lost Allen Robinson. Who is Hackenberg going to throw the ball to?
We have a quarterback that has not taken a snap in an actual game yet.
You are absolutely right.
We have an offensive line that is very, very questionable. So that's what I mean. I'm never not going to pick UCF. Probably.
No, there's going to be times you're not going to pick UCF.
I don't think so.
Especially if we start off rough.
If we start off rough, maybe.
If we get smacked by Penn State, we might not pick them against Missouri.
Yeah,
but you know, just a month and a half ago, I was a bit more pessimistic. But as the season is progressing or coming closer, I'm really getting amped up for this. And hope. We talked about this earlier. Hope is to the human soul as oxygen is to the lungs, and this team, with all of our experience and the skill we have and the leadership in place, it's just, you know, doubling.
Listen to all
spot.
this emotion from Troy.
I know.
This is absolutely awesome. It's not all stats. There's like emotion here. It's not all facts and figures and all that. There was actual emotion in that statement.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to give emotion often.
That is awesome. I really, really hope to do a little bit more on Penn State here, but we had so much other news to cover.
And we got caught up in the emotion.
And we did. Troy got caught up in the emotion. All right.
I thought you were the emotional one.
I normally am. I'm the one that I hate the
that
Raiders.
just makes you grumpy.
And, yeah, I hate the Raiders, and I hate Mizzou, and, you know, whatever. So, normally I am, but obviously not today. It's all right. Once a month, it's okay.
Yeah, you're normal once a month. Nice.
All right. Well, I guess this is the last time that we'll be talking to you before the Penn State game. 12 days, Night Nation. 12 days. I am extremely excited. I cannot wait. 8:30 in the morning on Saturday, the 30th. All right. After that game, we will have a podcast up on
a weekly basis.
A weekly basis, and it's either going to be I'm hoping to get it out on Sunday nights. If not, it'll be up Monday mornings. Alrighty? So thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you for joining our Facebook page. Thank you for following us on Twitter. Also, go to www.ucfknightlinepodcast.com. That is our official website. We have a new logo if you haven't noticed, and we're also hopefully going to have some t-shirts and stuff like that, or other stuff that we can find you guys at the tailgating, and we can hand those out to you. All right, well, thank you very much again, and this has been Andrew Fegley, and
as always, this is Troy Ondrzak.
Alrighty, we will see you next time. This has been the Knightline Podcast, episode number 5.
And I'm hungry.
Victory is the crown.